What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a video regarding Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. Now, as of the time of this video, there is little knowledge of the game's multiplayer, and as such, the footage in the background is just some of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. However, over the course of the past few months, little bits of information have been dropping here and there. But what information have we been given for Andromeda's multiplayer though? Well, in an interview with BioWare's producer, Mike Gamble, we know that it will be slightly different from Mass Effect 3's multiplayer in a few key ways. Firstly, Mass Effect Andromeda will have strike teams, which are basically your multiplayer teams. These will closely integrate with the story of the main game, rather than being totally separate. While Mass Effect 3 claimed its multiplayer would impact the single player, it was only in a very minor way. With Andromeda though, it looks like the multiplayer may play more of an important role. Next, there is a system known as the Strike Team system, which fundamentally allows players to go between Andromeda's single player and multiplayer, while in the game rather than in a separate menu at the title screen. The Strike Team mode is supposed to be packaged around the game's meta story of what's going on in Helios. Gamble said that you can experience the whole story in single player if you don't like or can't play the multiplayer. This should come as a relief to players in those situations. I remember a lot of upset when BioWare announced that Mass Effect 3's multiplayer can affect the single player before the game's launch. BioWare have also stated that it is possible to earn single player rewards during multiplayer matches. However, these rewards should not impact the single player story at all. However, if we are able to unlock weapons and that, it can make the single player experience potentially easier, so I don't know how this is going to work in the long run. Now, apart from this, there isn't a ton of information. We know that the team behind Mass Effect 3's multiplayer is behind Andromeda's multiplayer, so it should be a similar affair in terms of gameplay. More than likely it will be you with a group of friends fighting waves or fighting over objectives before the mission ends. More than likely too, there will be different set classes and abilities to play as well as other races, just like in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. I hope that the classes, abilities and races play more of a role in the multiplayer, especially on the harder difficulties. Other articles have also stated that there will be less hunkering down or defensive play in Andromeda's multiplayer. BioWare wanted to try to prevent players from remaining in a single location instead of utilising the entire map. Whether this will be via tough enemies or objectives, we don't know yet. BioWare have also adjusted the cooldowns of player abilities, which is going to be different from Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, where the abilities were all tied to the same cooldown. Like if you used Warp, then you would have to wait before you can use Throw. Now each ability will be on a separate cooldown, so this potentially means that you do not always have to use the lightest of weaponry for those classes who utilise power abilities rather than weaponry. This may also result in a lot more builds that utilise all available abilities and not just one or two. One new addition to the multiplayer that has been hinted at is the ability to use a jetpack. Now, while this is available in the single player, for sure it is unclear if all or just some of the characters in the multiplayer will have it. There has also been information revealed regarding the different card packs and microtransactions in Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. This is to be expected, in all honesty, and will probably work very similar to the various packs in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer and other EA games. Lastly, BioWare are looking at ways to keep players for the long term, and as such they are editing and changing up their prestige system for the game's multiplayer. How this will work out in the long run, we'll have to wait and see. Personally, as long as they put on events or give us certain rewards linked to different events, then I can see players coming back for more. It's a shame there is not much more information out there at the moment for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer, but that is to be expected as the single player of the Mass Effect series is normally the heart of the franchise, and thus they are advertising that more than the multiplayer. BioWare have stated that they intend to do a multiplayer beta, but as of this video there is no new information to when that will be. I personally hope that the multiplayer for Andromeda will be as addictive as Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was. I am also pleased to see that you can earn rewards for your single player, but not to the point where you will be forced to play the multiplayer. It is going to be a grind again though, trying to unlock all the cards, weapons and characters, as I suspect a lot of these will be locked behind rare cards, and only through RNG will you be able to get them. Anyway, what are your hopes and fears for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer? Leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer speculation video. Hope you enjoyed it, subscribe and like for more.